Hello, everyone. Good evening. Well, let's invite here Sergio and Lionel for our amazing Monday Unplugged live. Please just give us a few seconds. Okay. Monday, July, summertime, and we don't stop ever. Okay, Sergio is on the way. Here we go. Now let me see. Lionel is
Good
coming
evening.
too. Good evening, Sergio. Good evening. Good evening, Lionel. And
Hello.
here we are back again
Yeah.
for the good
So
for the Monday Unplugged. And today with us, as usual, we have then Lionel Rodriguez from Desirable Portugal Tours, from
hello.
Lisbon area, also from Porto and the Algarve, because I know you covered the whole country. Well, this is a
Yeah.
tiny country, to be
Yeah.
honest. Also,
Well.
Sergio from Evi Tours, based in Porto, the second largest city in Portugal, and definitely one of the most beautiful towns in the world, and in the outskirts
Most
of the
beautiful
world.
town in the world after Lessa de Palmeira.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really beautiful there. And then here I am in this beautiful place too, in the Algarve, in Albufeira, where I'm based. And well, you know, I'm Gabriel from Travel Algarve and also GL Tours, Great Life Tours. Okay, so before we start, I can see we have already people here, guides, we have visitors. Please feel free to make us questions, bring your matters, your thoughts about this topic, because today we're going to talk again about guides and how important tour guides can be. And of course, we all know it's not vital to hire guides, but it's also important to acknowledge that working with local guides can bring to travelers premium experiences. So we actually can provide way more than maybe people they can get for themselves. Okay, and then for start, well, I'm gonna start from where? Let me see. I'm gonna start from the North Portugal. Okay, so Sergio, I know you are a very experienced guy too in Porto area in Douro Valley, and for sure you just see the same we keep seeing popping up on travel groups, people talking about guides. Some people they say they don't need guides, some people they say it's the best experience you can have immersing in Portugal with a local guide. Well, whatever, so let's talk about this matter for about 30 minutes, and well, let's kick this off.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you again for watching us after 1 week where we were just all enjoying the soccer. Unfortunately for Portugal, it ended a little bit sooner than we had anticipated. It is what it is.
Yeah,
So that's
exactly.
why we're back over here with you. So, on the guide topic for tonight, well, I have a couple examples that I can give you on how guides can enhance your experience. And this also serves as a bit of a cautionary tale regarding what a good guide does versus what not so good a guide can do, or even just hiring a driver for the day. How do good guides enhance your experience? One of the earliest stories that I have to share with you since I started doing the tours is that I remember, well, my tours there are mostly focused on the Douro Valley area, and I sometimes like to stop at the Pinhão train station. Very beautiful train station. A lot of people know it. It's very beautifully decorated with tile panels over there as well. Amongst the small train stations of the country, it's considered to be one of the most beautiful ones. There's actually a little bit of history, particularly behind the tile panels and what they are depicting over there at the train station. And for the most part, it's going to be landscapes of the Douro Valley, and it's also going to be the stories and the traditions of the Douro Valley, particularly the harvest, particularly the wine transportation by boat. So those kinds of things are the things that are depicted over there at the, the tile panels of the train station. And I remember having people wondering that why are we stopping over there? And for me, it's kind of like an illustrated book to tell you the story of the Douro Valley. It's very beautiful, and a guide can do a good interpretation of the tile panels that you're seeing over there. And I remember having a conversation with some customers, both mine and then from another group, from another guide. I don't even remember who it is, so it's not worth trying to ask me about it. But I remember discussing with my customers that there was a fascinating story behind it, and they were very fond of learning about it. And the not so brief stop that we did there, considering the size of the train station, we actually stayed there for a little over half an hour, which for someone who knows what the train station is all about, that's actually quite a bit of time to spend at a very small train station, just explaining the history and the traditions of the valley. And then I had customers from another tour company who approached me and they said, well, our guide, he just stopped over here. He told us you have 10 minutes to take pictures of the train station and then you need to be back on the bus. So what did that add to the experience to those customers? Well, unfortunately, it didn't add too much. But those are the things that if you're doing a self-guided tour, or even if you're going with, unfortunately, these guides do exist, not so great guides over there, who won't bother to tell you the history behind what you're seeing. It's going to be you're going to miss out on substantial things on during your trip, during your experience, during your tour. So this is one of the key aspects why you should consider hiring a guide. There's plenty of other things, and if we do a bit of a roundtable over here, I'm going to pass the ball now to Lionel. But if it eventually comes back to me, I can cover another topic. So knowledgeable guides, they will do a little bit of this interpretation of what you're seeing and explaining to you, and you'll come out with a more enriching experience and having a sense of having gone a little bit deeper into the Portuguese history and culture. So, Lionel, you're it.
Well, good evening, and thank you for leaving that that subject open. Um, I've been touring for several years, and I have the experience with different tour profiles, different tour services, because I worked in some different companies, and one of the things I've been saying a lot, it's there's two things that I hate to do when I'm doing tours. It's to give free time to the guests, okay? Like you go there, you do your thing, and then we'll meet back at the car. At least I need to give them some introduction, and of course, a little bit after, I can give them some free time, okay, for some shopping or whatever. But that kind of now, you need to be back here at this certain time, and you go there and you do your thing. It's not my, in fact, my kind of stuff, okay? And the other one, it's pretty much well, going to a certain place and not adding value to to the experience, okay? So not having that that little extra, that little hidden secret or whatever. You just mentioned the tiles on the train station, and I know them quite well, and I love them, okay? Across the country, many of the train stations have beautiful tiles. But by example, one of the places that I used to do with some time was to drive by the one of the streets in Régua, not the one right in front of the river, but the one that goes the other way around. You have beautiful tile panels over there. One even representing the Marquis of Pombal, that has a lot of history connected with the valley. And then on the drive down to the main street, you have some beautiful little panels on the left that also represent the scenes of the valley. So when you really feel that you're just doing the same old same every day, and you have nothing different to add to a tour, it's probably you need to rethink a little bit what you're doing. Today I had an example, okay, and I had really, well, I remember my guest telling me, I just see, well, the shine, the bright in your eyes. I was happy to, after several years, to be finally able to get back to the terrace of the Convent of Christ, okay? When I realized that the terrace was finally open, it was pure joy. So it was really something special. So this is the passion that we feel, because at the end of the day we need to really to be happy with what we're doing, otherwise it's just, well, the same old same. And that is really something that I hope that I manage to transmit. I make a lot of effort to transmit that, and it's the pure difference when you have just someone that is quite annoyed of doing the same old same every day, or someone that is really enjoying the moment. So sometimes that makes really the difference, and that makes the day of of our customers, of our guests. Then we have something else. You have faced this hundreds of times probably. You go to a certain place, you are expecting to park in a certain place, but you can't because the street is blocked. You are going to a certain place hoping that a place is open, but they ended up closing for vacation, whatever. There is some event going on, you cannot access this or that. How many times did you kind of, well, turn, instead of turning left, you turn to the other left, and your guests didn't notice at all? So you just used your local knowledge to kind of shift the experience on a slightly different way, and your guests don't notice at all. And you end up providing a similar experience. You end up providing pretty much the same level of of tour and of knowledge and all of that, because you know how to use your knowledge to face unexpected things. When you travel by your own, and if you are like following, imagine like a guidebook, and there's plenty of guidebooks, some that people follow, and it has good content, okay, but you are following instructions, but in a certain point, those instructions are no longer valid because the things have changed. Because you just need to have like a street closed or whatever. um, you will end up having an issue to get to a certain place because you thought that you knew how to deal with the situation, but the situation has changed. So it's the local knowledge that really adds value to that, because at the end of the day, you will not have all the frustrations and all the annoying things happening to your experience, because you had the local knowledge guy that knew how to work around it. And this is priceless, okay? This is that value of years and years on the field. And I plan my tours quite ahead of time to not to have unexpected situations or unforeseen situations, but that happens. So imagine this, okay? If you are not knowledgeable to the place, you are new on a certain place, you are following like a set of instructions, and then things don't work. You have people losing a whole day because instead of turning left, they could not turn left because there was some road blocking, whatever. And I can relate with that a lot with one of the most visited places in our country, Sintra. The frustration levels of people that try to drive there, or people that try to get there on their own, it's immense, okay? You need to, if you go there at, mid-afternoon or at the end of the day, try to find people with a really happy face going back to the train station, or try to find people with a really happy face driving over there. It will be hard, unfortunately, okay? And it's a shame because it's such a beautiful place, but it needs to be tackled with uh, good preparation, but most of all, a lot of local knowledge. Because even for me, I get surprises quite often, okay? So this is just an example of stuff that really, make the difference. And there's a lot more to talk about this. Of course, you need always to think on what is your goal, what is the value, what you want to invest. But we're here to provide the best that we can, and the best that we've been working for. Okay, so Gabriel, in the Algarve, you might also have a lot to relate with.
Ah,
Moving on.
yeah, actually, it's pretty much the same. And you mentioned some very good points. I'm going to try to talk now about two very important points. One, because we're talking about like we are tour guides here, right? But there are different, let's say, niches of guides. Okay, so we are all important, but like you said, someone who does the same tour every single day, like I have some guides here, and they are my friends, and they only do wine tours, 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the afternoon. That's what they do. Okay, so they are guides anyway. But when we talk about guides, we have to talk about our own experiences. We are not just guides who are using a microphone on the bus. I mean, they have value, like I wrote on the post. Or we are not just guides who run share tours. Sometimes I run share tours, and I can tell you it's not the same of running a private tour, not even close. But okay, it's July and August. Some people they want to go to some popular spots. Maybe they don't have the budget to hire a private guide. So once in a while I run share tours. It's good for everyone, but it's not what we are talking about. Because even today, we saw some posts talking about guides, the value of a guide. Oh, it's too expensive, it's too cheap. I mean, what is expensive or what is cheap, right? It's really, it's really. I mean, it doesn't depend of the price, but the value, and also depend a lot of our own budget. For instance, we all know Elon Musk. He arrived in Portugal 2, 3 days ago, right? On the news says that the guy spent 21,000 euros just in diesel. Okay, so will you spend 20,000 euros to visit Portugal? No, it's very expensive, right? Well, not for Elon Musk. So this is just an analogy, but this means, I mean, if you are on the budget, I understand you can't hire a private guide, but it doesn't mean they don't have value, because the value a local guide provide, it's not measurable in we can measure in euros or dollars. Okay, so it's way more, and I can give you tons of examples. Even today, I was guiding people from Carvoeiro to Lisbon through the west coast. As soon as we start driving from Carvoeiro to the first port close to Algesur, which was 1 hour driving, I share lots of information. Why? Because of course I start talking a bit about my background, and then as soon as I start talking, they start asking me things related with relocation, housing, how we locals receive visitors, how we locals deal with experts. So all this knowledge I share with them. Trust me, usually this is the same knowledge I charge when I run consultants. You know, people they book me for 30 minutes video call or whatever, and then I share all my background, all my knowledge I've been gathering after 17 years in sales world, construction area, 8 years as a guide. I've been saying this here over and over again as a hiker, as a cyclist. So I really know the Algarve like the back of my hands, and it's not just so to speak. It's literally I know very well the Algarve, and I know history and geography, but also all these things about pricing. Where's the nice place to live in winter or in summer? Always adjusted to each different person. Okay, and all this knowledge I share with them, the value, it's very, very big. They wouldn't get this just for buying a book or something, or maybe on the way they, maybe after they living here, whatever. People they get knowledge through different ways. But sometimes time is money, and when someone is coming to visit Portugal and they want to know something about housing, relocation, or whatever, if they hire a local guide like me, for instance, because I run these relocation tours, they are saving lots of money. Even if they, let's say, on a tour, a relocation tour, with including video consulting and the whole day touring around and showing the places and all the knowledge, if they invest 400 euros, it's nothing comparing with the time they're going to waste trying to figure out about the place for themselves. So it's never about the price, it's about the value. And thank God, many people, they can see the value in they have the budget also to invest. So everything is legitimate. There's many ways to visit the country, but there's something I really don't buy this when people they say it's expensive or cheap without having no clue about the license we have to pay, the insurances, the wear and tear of our vans, everything. And we run a business and we have families. And although the wage is low in Portugal, and I'm mentioning the wage, the minimum wage is low, and I'm mentioning this because I read some people saying kind of, oh, if the guy charged 500 euros, it's like more than 50% of their wage there. Okay, no, not everyone in Portugal
Mhm.
earns the minimum wage, which is very, very low. But I think this is more a motto for people who are visiting a country to try to help the local economy more. I mean, you don't have to hire a guy, but showing respect, it's key, and we like it. Now I spoke like a local. I don't like when people they label us as a poor country or people who earn a very low wage and then okay, let's pay something. No, let's value the country. And this is what I'm saying, this not only for visitors but also for some my colleagues who don't know how to sell the country. Okay, some guys, okay, I can do this very cheap. They are not selling the country, they are not doing a good work, they are not even feeding their families because they have no clue about business. And that's why 90% of the businesses after 1 2 years they've gone. Okay, sorry, sometimes I have to be blunt because I'm 51, I don't have time. I no longer have patience for uh, fancy words or oh, don't talk out loud or something. No, I'm very honest, I'm very candid. Some people they like it, some people they don't like it, but hey guys, this is me, and I hope you can keep trusting me because I've been working very well, and I'm very grateful for all people who are visiting the country, and well, they invest in us because well, we're Portuguese too, right? Sergio, I know you have something more to add. Sorry,
Yeah.
man. I've been
No, don't worry,
after
don't worry. You're very
after
passionate. You're
driving
very
12
passionate
hours.
about it,
I
so
still have to.
very happy to hear you.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so I'm actually just going to reiterate some of the things that you said, like what Lionel said, like what you said, Gabriel. There's also two things that I don't like to waste. I don't like to waste time. I don't like to waste any money. So those are two things that I don't like to waste. And if I put myself in the traveler's perspective, um, I look at hiring a guide as an investment that you're doing, not as an added expense, because as you said, Gabriel, the amount of wealth, of knowledge that the guide is going to pass on to you, like for example, say things like, okay, if you like this and you're going to like that, or don't go there because that's a tourist trap, and you might feel inclined to go over there because you've read dozens of posts online about it, and everyone is saying that it's great, but that is actually a tourist trap. That's not authentic. And the guide having this conversation, and especially when we get the customers really early during their trip, we can actually save them a ton of money. Like, for example, what happened with me just today. I had a couple who booked me for a Douro Valley tour, very nice couple, and they told me that their next stop was going to be next to you, Gabriel, in the Algarve. And they asked me, so should we rent a car over there in the Algarve? And I told them, yeah, for the Algarve, it's actually the only place that I can recommend renting a car. And then they started telling me about the car and whatnot. And because I drive an electric car, they asked me, well, we got an electric car as well. And immediately my eyes went very wide, and I asked them, "Is this going to be your first EV experience over with an EV, with an electric vehicle?" And they told me, "Yeah, it's going to be the first one." And I had to tell them, "Sorry, Portugal, I don't think it's the right country for you to try an EV, to try a new ways of moving in the country, because over here." It's both simple and complicated at the same time. And what you're thinking that you're going to save in terms of money by not paying for gas and whatnot, because of the law over here, because how the charging law works over here, you won't know how much you've paid for the electricity until the bill arrives in the next month, and you might end up paying more than if you get a rental. So they were immediately shocked by what I just said. Well, this coming from an EV owner and an EV driver telling them, don't do an EV over here in Portugal. They trusted me. And so they immediately canceled their rental. And so my next question for them was, well, do you have anything planned for the Algarve? And they were like, no, we're actually very we were just going to try to wing it. We're very how did they say it?
Go with
We're very
the
poor.
flow.
Yeah,
Going
we're
with the
very
flow.
poor at planning. Yeah, we're very poor at planning.
Oh,
And I told them, reach out to a guide. And well, I can tell you, I gave Gabriel's number because he's also local. He lives in Albufeira. And my thought was precisely, well, at least that way, for the first day, they won't need to rent a car. So they're saving money on the car, which they can use to put towards the guide. So they're not paying for fuel, they're not paying for the rental, they're not paying for the insurance. Um, Gabriel, I know that if they decide to hire him, he's going to take very good care of them. And also, he's going to give valuable tips for what to do in the next days.
yeah.
So, on the first day, if they get you, well, they're going to have basically their entire itinerary, their entire 3 days set up with you over there. So, what more could we ask? Hiring a guide is not an expense, it's an investment. And it's one of the best investments that you can do. The amount of knowledge, the amount of tips that we can convey throughout the day, and by having this interaction and getting to know the customers a little bit better throughout the day is going to prove invaluable in the long run, especially if you still are if you're not saving your big trip for last. Then I always incentivize people to whenever they go to a new location, do a tour over there, even if it is something simple like in Porto walking tour, just to get your bearings on the city, so that way you know where the Clarigos Tower is, where the Lelo bookstore is in regards to the Clarigos Tower, where the Bulhão Market is, where the Ribeira area is. So you know, you get your bearings on the city, and you're not wasting any time. Sure, you're paying a guide to do it for you, but the guide is going directly to the locations that are of interest. The guide can improvise on the spot because he has that local knowledge. And so he's going to save you time, and in the long run, he's going to save you money throughout your vacation because you're going to know what's a tourist trap, what isn't. We're going to give you tips like, for example, where you should withdraw money from and from which ATMs. By the way, avoid Euronext. Just saying. Free tip for everyone over here. And yeah, there's a plethora of knowledge that we can share with you throughout the day, make some recommendations based on your preferences. And after spending a day with you, we'll get to know you a little bit better, and we can fine tune our recommendations to your liking and based on your itinerary as well. These are things, as we said, as travel planners and as what Gabriel does, consulting online. These are things that you basically get for free by hiring a guide. So
Oh, yeah.
I would say you're not wasting money. There's definitely a lot of value in hiring a guide. Get your guides at the locations you're visiting really early on because the tips that they're going to give you are going to be invaluable for the next couple of days. So there's a lot of value in hiring a guide. And like Lionel and Gabriel, you said, price is one thing. Price is the number that you pay for it. Value is what you get out of what you pay. And sure, there's going to be 200, let's say 100 euro tours that are really expensive because you basically could have done it yourself and save a little bit of money. And there are 300 euro tours that are worth way more than that because you're going to realize that the value of what was passed on to you, the locations that you visited, sometimes you're paying a little bit more to have more exclusive access and whatnot. It's definitely worth it. And you're going to locations that very few people go to. Just last week, I hosted a duo of ladies, a couple of ladies, and I took them to a winery where the road is super difficult to access. And they said to me, if we didn't have you, we could know about the place. They didn't know about the place, but they didn't even know about the place. But if they knew about the place, they wouldn't have the courage to drive all the way up there.
Oh, yeah.
And,
It happens.
and we know how the roads over there are. So plenty of things like this. And we could go on and on over here just talking about the pros and cons, hiring a guide, but we're focusing on the pros. A big con a big thing against it, I would say it's basically the only downside. Yeah, you're investing money in us, but notice I just said you're not spending, you're not wasting, you're investing.
The just sorry to interrupt you. What sometimes kind of blows my mind. Okay, it's the when we are touring with the guests, we end up kind of well asking about what they've been doing or what they plan to do. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
and in many cases they have stuff planned that we feel you're just gonna waste a lot of money on this or on that. It's not authentic, or it's not the greatest experience, or probably. And I'm talking by example. I have a lot of people that, by example, even have some mobility issues or something. They are not aware about, well, what is the challenge to get to this or that place, okay? And we need to tell them, well, it's great, but you probably will have some hard time. Okay, it's like, imagine this: you have someone in Porto saying, "Okay, we just we're gonna see the view from the top of the Clérigos Tower." Unfortunately, not everybody manages to go there. There's no lift to go to the top of the tower. Okay, so this is the kind of stuff that even sometimes when we are on a tour, we can help people to kind of solve a few issues like you did with the electric car, okay, and to advise them the best way to do this or to do that, because and this is something that people need to be aware. And I get this quite a lot when people ask questions, or they want to do this or that consultation about a tour. Oh, I just read that someone did it like at this time of the day, or did it this way, or did it that way. Yeah, it worked out probably that day because the stars lined up, the weather was great, the yin and yang, they worked all together, okay, and people managed to do it. But it's like the year has 365 days, okay, and you probably have like 2 or 3 days like that, okay. So when things really line up, in general things don't. So you sometimes need to be like an advisor for people that are planning to do certain stuff, and they just read some misinformation here and there, or just they read so many things that they thought, okay, this is easy peasy, it's a piece of cake, let's do it.
It's not.
Probably not.
No.
Okay.
By the way,
And
speaking of the example of the Clérigos Towers, just so that when people know what we're talking about, it's 76 meters tall and 225
yeah,
steps.
exactly. So, and even with some railings that here or there are not
Yeah.
the strongest ones. Okay,
Well,
but
definitely
it's
we
this
can't.
kind of things.
Yeah. As a travelers, we can trust in everything we see on social media. And now it's getting even worse. We have fake photos, we have fake information, we have lots of people misleading others. And visitors, they never share about their really miserable experiences. I mean,
Yeah.
like you said, you don't see sometimes people happy while they are trying to drive their car in Sintra. Well, it's pretty much the same here. I see people struggling. So many times people, they realize I'm a guy, they are coming to me to make some questions. Can I park here? Should I park there? And then, no, you can't park here. This is just for buses. If the police come here, you're going to get a ticket. So all this stress, this hustle, people, they don't come out and share. Oh no, my trip to Portugal, it was perfect. They don't share about the time they waste. I mean, it doesn't happen always. Okay, I'm just talking about general examples that people usually they don't share about what they've done wrong. I mean, it was not wrong, but they wasted time. And then when they share, okay, go to the Algarve, hire a car, it's perfect. Well, not in July and not in August. It's
Yeah.
perfect in January and February. And all this knowledge, it's not accurate on social media. Of
And
course, if you trust in a local guide, well, I can speak for myself, and I know you're going to say the same. I try to be as honest as I can. And sometimes I don't sell because I'm too honest.
oh well,
But I mean, at least I can sleep, I can sleep with
exactly.
my
Well,
consciousness. Huh? Well,
that
wonderful, guys.
happens to me a lot, in fact. So I lose a lot of business because there's places that I don't believe that they are a great experience. So I'm not gonna uh, take my guests to that mess. But people want to do it anyway. So sorry, I'm being too honest with you. But at least I sleep peacefully, and at the end of the day, I need to be happy with what I've provided. So
And definitely,
it's
because I believe in karma, we're gonna attract the good. The good. I mean, everyone is good, but we're gonna attract the niche we like to work with too.
well.
Okay, guys. I don't know if you have something more to add. 35 minutes gone. This is perfect. I love to
Time just
talk with
flies.
you.
So We one of these days we need to start to do live unplugged after hours. Okay, so like the after party.
Yes,
So,
exactly. 7 a.m.
or
After
extended version. Okay,
after I return from the street.
okay.
Okay, then we can
We'll
just like.
we'll do an extended version.
Okay,
Well,
guys.
thank
Well,
you very
good
much.
evening.
Good
Good evening,
evening, everybody.
everyone. See you
See
next
Good
you next
Monday.
evening.
Monday.
Bye bye.
See you.
Thank you.
Bye.